Medium Curious is proud to be sponsored by VerySoul.
VerySoul is dedicated to the development of mediums and providing quality evidential readings to anyone who is looking to connect to their loved ones in spirit.
And if you'd like to try it out, your first reading's free. Just head to verysoul.com.
And get your free reading free. It's also free. Hey, everybody. I'm Jane.
And I'm Sarah.
And you're listening to the Medium Curious podcast, the show that wants you to know that you can talk to the animals.
That's right.
And they'll talk back, and then you can talk back to them, and then you get a whole conversation.
Yeah, they're so chatty. And we have on Nikki Vasconez today. She is a professional animal communicator and a brilliant teacher. She wants to teach everybody how to do this themselves.
Yes, and she is also a teacher of the teachers. She's an incredible human and feel so lucky to have had her on our show. Shall we get to it?
Yes.
Here we go.
Hi, Nikki. We're so happy to have you with us.
Hi, Sarah and Jane. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to connect with you guys today.
So you're an animal communicator. We love those.
No, there's nothing greater than working with animals.
It's so true. It is so true. But you weren't always an animal communicator, right? You had a pretty big
Career.
heavy lifting job before this, right?
Yes, I used to be an attorney, and wow. I didn't even know that telepathic animal communication was a thing. I never had experiences that I can remember growing up, and I never knew when grandma was sick or any of this stuff, right? I just always thought, I think a lot of people think that you have to be born, well, we all are born psychic, but I think a lot of people think you have to be born with a gift. And that wasn't my story that I was consciously aware of. And I learned about animal communication when I was 28 years old as a full-time lawyer, and it took off from there. So yeah, I had a regular job, and now it's just a much more fun job.
Aww, a really meaningful job.
Oh, such a beautiful, and you're training a bunch of us other animal communicators out in the world, which is extraordinary. Can you tell us that moment though? I read about it on your About. I think it's such a charming bit about how the switch got flipped for you.
Yeah. So are you referring to my dog and his name?
Yes.
So I learned that animal communication was possible through a friend. And I hadn't been practicing it, certainly didn't think that I could do it. So we ended up hiring an animal communicator to come to our house for our now deceased pup, Jordy, because I wanted to know how she was feeling, like if she was doing okay. And while the animal communicator was there to connect with Jordy, at the very end, I said, hey, I have a really crazy question I need to ask you. And she's like, okay. And I was like, I have this feeling that my dog, whose name at the time was Havoc, I didn't know any better. That was my husband's military call sign. Like, why would you name a little 9-pound dog Havoc and then nickname him Havoc Danger? And then when he's always anxious, you wonder why. So I wasn't thinking I wasn't in that mindset then. I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
So I said to this animal communicator, I'm like, I really feel like Havoc doesn't like his name. Like, I just am getting that feeling from him. At the time, I didn't realize that he was telling me. I just thought it was a feeling I had. So then she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you said something. And I was like, why? And she said, when I walked in the door and you introduced us, he said to me, call me Mr. H. He didn't even want her to call him Havoc.
Baby.
So then I was like, I knew it. So my next natural question was, well, what does he want to be called? So she asked him, and he said, she didn't know this, but Havoc at the time, whose name is now Merlin, he said, Dad has to be the one to name me because he chose my name now, which was accurate. And then the animal communicator said, he's telling me if you say to your husband the words magic and wizard, he will know what to name him. And at the time, I didn't know Merlin the wizard. I had no idea who that was. So I was like, okay, weird. So later I said to my husband, Havoc doesn't like his name and he wants a new name, but you have to name him. And if I tell you the words magic and wizard, you'll know what to call him. And he was like, Merlin, because he had just seen the movie again, like last weekend.
Oh my gosh.
Guys, when we changed his name to Merlin, he transformed into a new poodle overnight. wasn't as anxious, was more like strut around the house like he owned the world. It was phenomenal. And it was the power of a name. And so when that happened, I was like, okay, I knew he didn't like his name. How did I know that? And that just was like a little seed that was planted of maybe there's something here.
Wow, I love it. It was great when I read that. When I read that on your site, when I first was introduced to you and your work, I had to stop. I had a nickname for my pup, which was Trubs, because she's always getting into trouble. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, we can't stop. We can't. She's a beautiful name. It's Kalea, which is like beautiful in Hawaiian. And so anyway, so I was like, I have to literally be like, oh, no, because she,
and Jane, we all do it. Like Merlin, he's like the most feistiest little man ever. And I said to Mike earlier, I'm like, when did he become so opinionated? Like, when did this happen? So sometimes I have to catch myself. Somehow the nickname Feisty Cookie came about. And I'm like, Nikki, stop calling him a feisty cookie. You're just instilling the feistiness in him.
Yeah, exactly.
But we all do it. But the number one tip I give people is like, hey, the power of a name. Because so many people, they name their horse Trouble or Monster or whatever. And then when the animal acts that out, they're like, well, I don't know why they're giving me a problem. Well,
isn't it fun? And I would love to hear if you have stories or your opinion here. But I think that was the biggest surprise to me, was how opinionated they are about everything. Yeah. I feel like especially horses, but like all the animals are just like, they have such a clear opinion. And it just like at first took me by surprise.
I think the number one thing that has been the most surprising yet magical revelation of this whole animal communication journey I've been on the last, 6 or 7 years, is how aware all of our animals, even the wild animals, are with us. And with being aware comes the opinions. Like, they are so opinionated, and like, just like we are, right? And humans are naturally opinionated. So why would it be any different? But, sadly in our modern society, at least in the United States, most of us are not raised thinking that animals have thoughts and feelings and opinions like we do. And they really do notice everything. So diving deeper into the animal communication world, it totally has transformed my relationship with my animals, but also my relationship with like just all sentient beings, because everything is aware and has feelings and thoughts and preferences just like we do.
That's amazing.
So actually, I was going to ask this kind of later on in the time, but talk to us about like that some more, like plants, and do you chat to other everythings?
So I personally don't make a conscious I don't have a dedicated practice to connecting with plants and trees and rocks and all that stuff, though I do think it's certainly possible. Yeah. I have had a few experiences though, unintentionally, unsolicited. The one situation I can remember, I was in my grandmother's backyard and I was getting these headaches out of nowhere. And I'm not one to really get headaches ever, thankfully. But I was having this headache and I was like, what is going on? And I kept asking for guidance of like, where is this coming from? So I was standing in my grandmother's backyard and I'm standing next to, what's it called? It was a tree with like pretty purple flowers. I don't know what it was called.
Was it like in Southern California?
No, we were in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember what it's called. I think it's technically a bush, but it's like, looks like a tree to me. Anyway, it was not windy. Nothing was moving. And I'm standing there and all of a sudden I literally get smacked in the face by a tree branch right here on my right side jaw. And it got my attention almost like a person had just hit me. Wow. And I look and I was like, and the tree's not moving. It's not windy. There's nothing happening. And I said out loud, did you just smack me in the face? and then the impression I got, the message I heard in my head was, there's a problem with your tooth. That's the headache. I was like, oh my gosh. And so I went to the dentist and I had an infection under my gum line from where a wisdom tooth was removed when I was a child.
Wow.
So I think that I always say, I don't know anything and anything is possible.
Yeah.
But my passion really is the animals. So I don't really spend much time dedicated to like connecting with the plants and the trees, but I do think it's certainly possible.
Cool. Thank you for that.
Really
that's an amazing.
You. That could have gotten really bad.
I know. That's dangerous.
Yeah.
And when it's under the gum line, like you don't see that. I didn't have any infection that you could see. It was just a headache I was getting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Smack in the face. Pay attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lilac. I think it was a lilac bush.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, I
think
love
that's what it was.
lilacs.
Oh my God. The other
It's
thing
so
is like,
good.
what are we going to
It's so
use?
good.
How do we get her? Oh,
Yeah.
let's borrow that tree. Bam.
Yeah.
So do you have a favorite animal? Like cats, dogs, horses,
To communicate with?
reptiles? Yeah. Like,
Honestly, Sarah, I don't, because they all are just as opinionated. And I think a lot of people feel that like maybe the horse or the dog or the cat would be way more opinionated or more feisty than say the dog or the bunny, but it's honestly not my experience. Like my sessions with animals are always the same amount of time, no matter what I'm talking to, whether it's a gecko, a bearded dragon, I've talked to turtles. The sessions are the same length because they have as much to say as their horse counterpart. There certainly, though, are some animals that are a lot more fun to talk with than others, like just like humans. Like we had different personalities, and sometimes one is just more talkative than the other, but they all go just as deep and they all have just as much to say.
oh,
Oh, amazing. Do you have like a favorite story or just like a conversation that surprised you or, anything to share on that front?
Oh gosh, yeah, I have a lot of those. I think what most people would benefit from story-wise for purposes of today would be, I have two come to mind. One is a health story. If we have time, I'll share both. And then one is a separation anxiety story. So the health story was I was talking to a cat named Finnegan very early in my journey. And he was very sick. He was very lethargic. Like no one could figure out what was wrong. They had been to several different vets. And it got to the point where he was just like laying in bed all day and this wasn't moving and didn't want to eat, like nothing, just didn't want to do anything. So of course, after you see all the doctors, like your last ditch effort is like, well, let me contact the animal psychic. What do I have to lose? Right.
Yeah.
So this woman reached out to me and I connected with Finnegan. And right away in the very beginning, he brought me to a very specific tooth in his back. I don't remember what tooth number, but at the time he told me exactly what tooth. And it happened within the first like 60 seconds of me connecting. And I was like, well, surely it can't be that easy. So I kept asking other questions like, is there anything else? What else is going on? He was like, are you not listening to me? It's this tooth. I have an infection in this tooth. And my human brain, because this was very early on, I'm better now with it. But my brain in the beginning was like, well, certainly the doctors the vets would have figured this out. Like if it's a tooth problem, x-rays, like they're going to, it can't be that simple. So after me like kind of fighting with this cat for a while of like, that can't be right. There's something else wrong. He was like, Nikki, it's the tooth. So I said to the mom, I was like, it's Finnegan's tooth. He has an infection in this one specific tooth. I gave her the tooth number. And so she was like, well, how do I tell the vet that this tooth is a problem? I'm like, just go to your vet and say you have, because no one will think anything weird about this. I'm like, go to your vet and say you just have a really strong connection with your cat and you just know it's this tooth, because everyone's going to understand that, right?
Yeah.
Because she didn't want to say the animal communicator told me. So she went to the vet, she insisted on x-rays, and sure enough, he had an abscess tooth. So they pulled the tooth, gave him medicine, did whatever they needed to do. And within a couple of days, he was back to his normal self. So like, that's just the power of animal communication. I'm not saying every single time the animal will know specifically what's wrong and it's an easy fix, but sometimes it really is that simple. So that was really awesome because it literally saved a cat's life, potentially.
Yeah.
Another really amazing story is there was a dog I communicated with named Belle or Bella. I think it was Belle. And she had really bad separation anxiety, to the point where like mom would leave and she could see Belle on the cameras freaking out, screaming. Like it was really traumatic. So I said to her, I was like, how can we help this be better? How can I help you feel more comfortable in your home? And she shared that the dog said, we had recently moved. We used to be on this property, it was like a big farm area is the vision I was getting, where she had a lot of land to run around. And she felt like she was the protector of the land. Like she was like running the perimeter and keeping everyone safe, but she didn't have that anymore. Oh. So I was like, okay. I was like, so do you need a job at your new house? And she was like, yes, I need to feel like I can guard again or protect. I was like, okay. I was like, how about when mom leaves, you protect the front door or you protect the front windows? Like, how does that sound for you? And she was all pumped about it. And she was like, yes. So I said to her mom, I'm like, listen, you might think I'm nuts, but I really feel like this is going to be the solution. So she's like, okay. So she gave Belle the job of protecting the front door, protecting the front windows. And she said that day when she left, she saw Belle on the camera when she left, and Belle laid in the hallway, quiet, staring at the front door and didn't make a peep. That was it. That was it. You know? So it's like sometimes the answers are so simple and we just need to tap in to figure out like what they're trying to communicate.
That is so awesome. I did a reading for my family, my dad and mom, and their cat. They wanted, a lot of times, and tell me if this is true, I'd love to hear your experience with this, is like the human wants the animal to be different, to act differently. And like, I'm like, I don't know, guys, I'll try, right? And they wanted the cat to stop threading between their legs in the morning because they were worried that they were going to fall.
Yeah.
And the cat said, just stop. Let me thread between your legs and then you can walk again. Just like, let's work this out. But like,
compromise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, hey, we're going to do what you say. It was like, the cat was like, no, dude, I'm going to thread because that's what I do. I'm a cat. That's what she kept saying. I'm a cat. This is part of the cat life. Like we thread between legs. So like, just tell these people to stop.
Stop walking for half a second and you'll be fine.
Exactly.
You know, it's funny, Jane, because a lot of times people come to me with exactly what you just said. They want their animal to stop doing something. Yeah. And my question to them is always, well, let's find out why they're doing this. Not just say, hey, stop this, but like, what is the reason behind this action?
Yeah, right.
And then
totally.
Sometimes they're trying to communicate something. And then they communicate it, mutual understanding happens, the activity stops. And sometimes it's like what you said, they're like, no, this is what I'm going to do. Get over it. I'm teaching you to like stop moving for 2 seconds. You'll be fine.
You're totally like a couples counselor.
Honestly, it kind of is like that because it's just bridging the gap of understanding.
Yeah.
You know, the communicate, like not everyone knows how to communicate with their animals. And I like, I'm sure we'll talk more about this later, but like, I am such a huge proponent of every single human being has this innate ability to be an animal communicator. I mean, that's what my program's all about. I'm teaching people all over the world to do it. So I believe truly that every single animal guardian has the ability to communicate with their animals. But if you don't take the time to slow the heck down and you don't take the time to listen to your own thoughts, and if you're not in the space to even be able to catch what they're saying, you're going to miss it. So it's a whole self-discovery situation involved too, learning how to receive your animal's telepathic messages.
Oh, yeah.
And
Will you tell us about your program?
Oh, for sure. So like in the beginning, when I first learned that I could communicate with animals, I looked to my husband and because I hated being a lawyer, and I don't like using the word hate, but I hated being a lawyer. Like there's no other way to say it. Like it was like soul. It was like sucking my soul. So when I learned that I could do animal communication, and then when I realized that I was helping people and I was able to make a difference, and like people were wanting it, because every free practice session I did in the beginning, everyone referred somebody, every single person. And I was like, well, this is 100% referral rate. Like there's something here.
Yeah.
So I eventually realized, wow, like this could be a business. So once I shifted into like, hey, this is going to be my business, I said to my husband one day, I was like, I need to reach as many people across this globe as possible to let them know that they can leave a job they hate and do something they freaking love. Because growing up, like I always envied people that had their own job or their own business. And I was like, that's so cool. I was like, but I don't have any talents or hobbies or anything I'm good at. I just love my dogs. Like, how can I make money petting my dog, you know? So I was like, I need to figure out how to teach people this. And I was like, if I taught myself, why can't I teach others? And what's really interesting is when I was an attorney, I did not like giving webinars or workshops because it just felt like a memorized script. I didn't care what I was saying. It just was like nonsense to me. But then when I became a confident animal communicator, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can teach others to do this. So I started teaching monthly workshops, and I did well, I eventually was doing 2 a month for like 2 years, and I had 25 people in each workshop. So it was 50 people a month I was doing an intro workshop. So I got really good at teaching intro workshops. And then after a couple of years of that, I created my now business program where I'm teaching people to create 6-figure animal communication businesses, because I always say I'm not a special snowflake. Like if I did it, why can't you? And it's so cool because what I realized in the midst of teaching this business program, because right now we have 122 students. My average student is between 50 and 65, which I wasn't expecting. I didn't know who my market audience or target audience was, but it's a lot of people that have worked a job for 20 years that they hate. They have no fulfillment or satisfaction. And they're like, I want something else. And I honestly can say, Jane and Sarah, that I've never had a single student not be able to do this. Because if you want it and you show up and you practice, you can do it because it's innate within you, like we said earlier. So my life now is, yes, I still do animal communication sessions for people, but my true passion is teaching other people how to do this for others in a professional sense.
Awesome. I love it so much. I mean, just that your journey of kind of like, whoa, and then whoa, and then whoa, like, whoa, I can teach people, and whoa, I can teach people how to do this and save their own, and have your same experience of cutting out of something that doesn't resonate.
Yeah. And what's really great is like, I didn't like being a lawyer, but every journey in your life serves a purpose. And I am a very organized person. I'm a very type A in the sense of like, I really struggled in school with group projects because I knew I would just do it better than everyone else because I cared and I wanted it done right. And I didn't want to rely on somebody else to do it. Right. And I don't mean to say I would have done it better, but you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't want to rely on someone else to do it right and then affect my grade. So, all these experiences I had growing up and as an attorney, like it all helped me be a better teacher now with animal communication, because I can't tell you how many times I've been told by my students, Nikki, you are the most, like, because after them going through the curriculum, they're like, you are the most organized person I've ever come across. Like, how are you making Google Excel or Google Sheets and spreadsheets? Like, how are you making this simple? Like, it's so organized and clean. And so like all these, how I've been my whole life is just helping me just excel in what I'm doing right now, which is really cool. So like I would say to people, maybe you spent the last 2 decades at a job you hated, but you know what? It's going to help you succeed in your animal communication journey now. So it's all worth it.
And G Suite is the perfect example.
Exactly. Right? Yep.
I worked that G Suite for a long time, my friend. I know that one. Mm-hmm. Hey, so I'm curious, I don't know how much you would be invested or care, but when you made this move, I'm just curious how folks reacted, folks around you, maybe your friends who are still lawyering. Like, what was that experience like?
It was really interesting. So I have phenomenal parents. They were very supportive. My husband was totally on board. I don't think anybody thought that it would turn into what it has.
Yeah.
But they just wanted me to be happy. Now, with that being said, it definitely took my dad, for example, a little bit longer to like be able to feel happiness for the shift, because I'll never forget when him and my stepmom came down to Philadelphia. I was at a law firm in Philadelphia at the time to move me out of my office when I was resigning, like leaving being a lawyer for good. He was so cranky. And I look at my stepmom, I'm like, what is his problem? Like, why is he like, what is wrong with him? And Kathy was like, well, Nick, this is hard for him. I'm like, hard for him? I'm the one miserable at a job in Philly. Like, what do you mean? But it was, my dad wanted me to be taken care of and supported. And, knowing your daughter's a lawyer, like that's salary, it's job security.
Yeah.
But no one said anything degrading or put me down. They were all just like, whatever makes you happy. But a shift I noticed is, so my dad worked at a police department. He ran the IT department and managed the office. So when he started working that job, I had already left being a lawyer, but all the cops there knew me as his daughter, the lawyer. So when I went to visit him one day, I was a year out of being an attorney. All the cops were like, oh, you're the lawyer. And I look at my dad, I'm like, really? A year ago, But then fast forward 2 years later, after not that the media appearances and all that matters, but it helped my dad realize that like this could be sustainable. So after the media and, you know, growing a following and him seeing that I'm making a successful income, the shift happened in the police department of, oh, Nikki, the animal communicator. Hey, can you talk to my cat? You know, like it was so funny. So as my family realized that this was actually working, they were more comfortable with it. But I didn't really have anyone be like, are you insane? Because my whole life, I've kind of just done the opposite of what everyone else has done always, you know? But also too, I didn't really have very many friends. So I couldn't really relate to anyone. Cause like I don't drink. I didn't really like eating at restaurants. Like, so I was just like hanging out with like animal lovers and my friends with farms. So it wasn't too extreme, but I'm sure there were people that had thoughts that didn't voice them.
Yeah. Right. But it sounds like you weren't even going to track it anyway. Like
No, it wouldn't have made a difference.
Clarity. You were going forward.
Totally.
That's so cool. I think that's very inspiring. I imagine it will be for people to hear.
Oh, totally. So you also communicate with pets who are in spirit, right?
Yes. And that happened by accident, honestly. I had one of my early practice sessions in the beginning. I was connecting with someone's cat and she just forgot to tell me her cat had passed away. So she told me the cat's name, gender. You know, I only asked for name and gender. That's all I wanted to know. And I did the session and everything came through like in the present tense. I love this. I don't like this. Like I didn't know the cat had passed away. Because prior to this point, I never would have tried to connect with an animal in spirit because in my mind, I wasn't a medium. I didn't have this ability. There's no way, right? So I'm on the phone call with this woman after the fact, and I noticed that everything she's saying about her cat was in the past tense. Kitty used to do this. Kitty loved that. So I said, hey, why are you talking in the past tense? She's like, well, Kitty died in March. And we were like in August or July or August. I was like, what? Like, what do you mean? And she's like, oh, I didn't tell you that? I'm like, no. And that like opened up. That was like a whole new universe for me because I was like, oh my God. Like,
so were you able to feel the difference between the cat and spirit? Yeah.
I still can't.
Yeah,
so,
it's tricky.
You know, I still can't. And that's why I personally don't do missing animal sessions. One, I just don't, I guess you can make the time if you want to make the time, but I just don't have the time to do missing animal sessions because I feel like they require a bunch of emergency sessions back to back. Yeah. And, you know, like I don't have the way I'm with my business is structured. Like that's just not my calling. And and they're really emotional for me. And it's just like, it's just too much. I don't thrive at it. I have some students that are amazing at it, but I tell people I don't like doing missing animal sessions because especially if the animal's been missing for a while, like I can't confidently tell you if they're still alive because they communicate the same way.
Right.
So and people are always like, well, if you are truly talking to them, can't you just ask them? I'm like, it doesn't work that way. Like I don't, at least for me, like it doesn't, because they still can interact and see our world just the same.
Yeah.
So that to me feels so comforting in a way.
Yeah.
Because people really miss their pets when they cross over, and to know that the way they communicate is still the same. It's
and they're hanging out. That's my experience.
What's amazing is one of my favorite questions I ask animals in spirit, and I ask every single one, is how are you communicating with your mom or dad now? Like, is there something you're doing? Is there a sign you're giving them? Like, what are you doing? And this one dog, I don't remember his name. He was a bigger dog. He was in spirit. And he said, I keep poking mom on the butt cheek. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? He goes, I was pretty clear. Like, what part didn't you understand? I'm like, okay, attitude, you know? So I was like, so me naturally, I'm like, okay, well, like, when are you doing this? He's like, just tell mom I'm poking her on the butt cheek. That's my way of saying hello. I'm like, okay.
Oh, that's so good.
So I told her, I told this woman, you know, and then she was like, oh my gosh. She's like, I was on a hike with my girlfriend the other day. We were outside in the woods and I kept turning around. And she said, my friend said to me, why do you keep turning around? And she said, because I feel like someone keeps poking me in the butt. And then it's just like, so not only is her dog deceased, but he's doing something. He's physically touching her, and she physically feels it.
Wow.
So I tell people,
so great.
I don't care if your animal is living in spirit. I don't care how long ago they passed away. Like, there are no barriers to communication when it comes to telepathy. And it goes back to what I said earlier. I don't know anything, and anything is possible. Like, there are no limits, unless the only limits are what you put on your own reality and in your own box.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Sing it. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I felt the breath. Sarah, go.
I was just thinking, I did a reading once where the client said, yeah, I wasn't actually reading for her dog. I was, I think I was reading her mom. And I said, I'm hearing like a dog collar, dog, like I can hear it and the feet coming down the hallway. And she's like, yeah, my dog has crossed over and I will feel her jump up in the bed and lay down next to me. And I was like, that's brilliant. This dog is absolutely here.
I can't tell you how many times I've heard that. They feel the bed dip down, or something brush against their leg. Like, it's amazing.
It is amazing.
Chills. Well, I guess part of what's so exciting to me is the aspect of telepathy and how that's a topic that's kind of finally come of age a bit. And I'm curious your thoughts on the telepathy tapes, and if do you feel like people are more open to this and us and this whole experience nowadays?
So honestly, I've only listened to the one or two animal communication episodes of telepathy tapes. I haven't listened to them, mainly because when that came out, I was developing my professional program. So I just was allotting all my time to creating my program.
Your head's down.
But what I can say, Jane, is that I've had so many students, I don't know if they've joined, but so many prospective students that I've met with talking about my program have said that they learned about animal communication through the telepathy tapes. And after hearing that 15 times, I'm like, what is this telepathy tapes thing? I need to Google it. So I definitely think that ever since COVID, honestly, since 2020-ish, people are more, at least in the United States, are more open to this type of stuff. And I think there's been definitely a big shift. And I think people are realizing that this isn't some new agey thing that was just created. We are innately telepathic beings, and hey, this is why it's real. And so I think telepathy tapes and other platforms like that are really beneficial because, and you guys, your podcast too, it's stories over and over and over again of normal human beings. And I say normal because people liked that I used to be a lawyer. That apparently that gave me street cred. You're not just this woo-woo lady with purple hair. Not that would be a problem. But I think, having these platforms interviewing, quote, normal, reputable people who are sharing their experiences is helping others take a step back and be like, wait a minute, there might be something here. Even if you can't see it, there's something here.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah, it's really fun. The whole thing is pretty mind-blowing, the telepathy tapes. And what I'm finding is that it's doing exactly what you just said about the box. We all have a reality box that lives by these rules and physics and the rest. But meanwhile, it's way more interesting than we've been taught. So that's what I like about that. And thank you for, we're that's exactly what we're doing. Sarah's a professional musician. She sits in an orchestra. I'm a filmmaker. I've run 3 production companies. We're normal folk who just through circumstance learned that our antennas go up and that we can hear. But what I love about animals, and I always say this to anybody who will listen, is to me, they feel more direct and really accessible. They're just right inside my head. They're just so delightful to chat to and hilarious.
Mm-hmm. And what's beautiful, Jane, is that the animals are so direct and so easy to talk to because they trust their natural abilities. They're way more connected to spirit, to source, to consciousness, whatever word you want to use, because they don't have this human damper on reality of we have to look this way or be this person or make this much money or whatever. They're just I am who I am and this is how it is. And they don't doubt. They don't doubt. We doubt. All of us, every single person listening to us speaking right now has had an experience where they knew someone was calling them and then the phone rings. Before they look at it, they know who it is. Or they finished a partner or a friend's sentence before they said it out loud. Or you know someone's having a bad day, you call them, they are, right? We've all experienced that. But yet so many of us have experienced that, but then not acted on it because we doubted. Oh, well, maybe I just made that up, or maybe that was just fear or worry. It's no, that was telepathy. That was intuition. animals trust it. They don't second guess.
I also wonder if they're, this is how they communicate with the everything, and humans generally don't. So I find that even on the other side, animals are easier than humans on the other side. Yeah. It's almost like they're still got enough human in them where they're like, how does this thing work? Is this thing on? Do you know what I mean? Like, It's just not as easy, at least for me.
A question I get asked a lot is, hey, Nikki, do you talk to deceased humans? And my answer is no, I have once or twice, but I don't, it's not my passion. But like in the beginning I tried, because I do believe that telepathy is telepathy, and it's probably the same on some level.
For sure.
It's still going to take practice, because you're going to, I don't know. It's the humans just don't call to me. But I connected with my deceased grandfather one time, who told me that my uncle was having a baby and no one knew. So I texted him. I said, hey, is Shannon pregnant? And I on the iPhone, I see typing, delete for like a minute. I'm like, bro, this is a yes or no answer. Like, what's the problem? And he ended up saying, no, why? And I was like, oh, I don't know. It was just like a thought I had. I didn't want to tell him, hey, I connected with your dad and you told me this. Turns out Shannon had, at the time, family didn't know because she had a couple miscarriages. So they weren't telling anyone that she was pregnant, but she was, and ended up having a healthy child. So like, I know it can be done. You can connect with humans. It's the same as with the animals. For me, it's not as exciting to me. It's not what I'm here for.
Yeah.
But the couple times I tried it, it felt more complicated. And I don't know if that was because it was just me being out of my element, or like it because the humans just are more complicated. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there is something to that. I think a little cloudier, more
static.
Not all of them.
Yeah. Some are really clear. Yeah. It's the same it's all the same, right? It's like that personality, their capacity, whatever. Yeah. But I also can hear my bias, or I'm like, animals are easy, humans are hard. Like, that's just me deciding that. That's a bad idea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. It just comes down to like, what do you feel desired to do? And I do not feel desired to communicate with humans. I just don't. So therefore it's going to feel more difficult because I don't really want to do it. You know?
Totally. That makes perfect sense.
We'll be right back.
Hi, friends. Thank you so much for listening and for supporting Medium Curious. We're so grateful for you. Please, 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 if you love the podcast, share it with 3 friends today. Tell them why you love it. Come over and give it a rating, and even better yet, a review on the podcast platform that you listen. Those things are so significant and meaningful to us. And make sure that it's downloading to your device as well. We're so grateful for your listenership and can't wait to connect with you soon. Also, I wanted to share there's a great event coming up in a couple weeks called Soul Symposium. And one of our previous guests, Carla Gelbert, and I are among about 17 spiritual teachers who are going to be teaching all kinds of amazing topics. I will actually be teaching animal communication. Carla is going to teach you how to talk to your guides, all kinds of amazing things, spirit art, mediumship, all the goodies are going to be happening at Soul Symposium. And of course, I'll put that link in the show notes. And last of all, if you are wondering if what you are doing is what your soul came to Earth to do, and don't you wish you had an inner oracle in your pocket? I have this program called Higher Calling, and it's meant to help just exactly those folks who are feeling a strong pull but don't know how to listen or to trust what they're hearing. It's a 6-month container that offers a chance to get super, super clear on your inner guidance, get that higher self online in order to make those big life decisions and also pursue that creative project that you've been afraid to commit to. If this calls to you, please come over to janemorganmedium.com and let's chat. All right, back to the show.
Hey, in the very beginning of my mediumship journey, I connected to this woman's German Shepherd in spirit. And he felt like an ascended master to me. Do you think, so this was like inexperience, just kind of overwhelmed, like, whoa, this is a dog. He feels like at the very least, a guru of some sort. Or is that just German Shepherds?
Honestly, Sarah, what I've learned is that there is no difference among the species, the breeds. I've had the most opinionated conversations with little 5-pound rabbits. That at the same as with I don't know how many tons does an elephant weigh? So I just think that in my experience, there's no distinction between this animal is more wise than this one. And with the Ascended Master comment, like, I think anything is possible. I think our animals 100% help us evolve in ways, like, they're here for us, we're here for them, like, we're in a mutual relationship here to benefit each other. So, like, I don't know if this German Shepherd, maybe in this person's life, like his guardian's life, was the reason maybe she overcame an addiction or something, right? Like, he literally maybe saved her life, and that's what you were picking up on. Or maybe he truly is an ascended master to humanity. I think anything is possible at this point. I'm like, hey, I don't know anything, and I'm all for it. Like, whatever.
I love that. I don't know anything. I mean, I think that's the perfect way to proceed.
Yeah,
I don't know
I agree.
anything. I'm open to it all. Show me everything.
Like, prior to talking to animals, I never had an opinion about reincarnation. It was just never a thought in my mind. I didn't care. I didn't have an opinion either way. And then with talking to animals, I've had a couple talk about reincarnation and how they're going to come back as this specific animal. It looks like this with a specific name. And like, that ended up happening. So like, I'll have people sometimes ask me, comments on social media, can my animal come back as a human or whatever? And I'm like, I don't know anything. I am not qualified to answer this question in any stretch of any imagination, but I believe anything is possible because I don't know. We're all still here. We don't know.
Yeah. Until we leave here, I don't think we get to know. But we always joke on here that we have a great time trying.
Exactly. Yes.
Great time trying to figure this thing out.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So for our listeners out there who would like to better connect with their pets, do you have any tips that you can give them to hone in on their telepathy with their animals?
Yeah. Two things come to mind. Well, the first is get off your phone. Like, get off the phone. Put the phone down. We are so addicted to our phones. And if you are separate from your phone, your computer, technology, and you're just like with your animal, it's going to take some time for your nervous system to calm down. But when you're in a calmer state and you're not distracted, you're more easily going to be able to pick up their messages. So that's number one. But the heart, more to the heart of your question is, we've said several times, we all have the ability to do this, right? But it really comes down to how open are you as a channel. So what I mean by that is, are you super stressed? Are you in a toxic relationship? Like, how are you doing as a physical being? And what can you do to improve your life? The happier, healthier, more vibrant you are as a human, the more open your channel is going to be able to communicate with your animals. Now, some people are listening right now and freaking out, thinking they're doomed and now they're never going to have the opportunity to do it. Not the case. That's not what I'm saying. We all have the ability no matter what. And it really just comes down to slowing down and having the awareness that, one, you can do this, but having the desire and just being open, like releasing expectations. Do not say to your animal, if you can hear me, go do this. And then when they don't do it, you think you failed. I can never get my dogs to do anything I say when I phrase it that way, ever. Like, they're like, oh, I'm not doing that. Like, that's a waste of my time, right? So it's release the expectations and just be open. And sometimes it's not this big, extravagant, mind-blowing, earth-shattering message you receive. It's a subtle feeling, a faint knowing, like a whisper, and a lot of times you think you just had a thought. Like, oh, my dog wants to go for a walk. I should probably go walk him. But was that your thought, or did he say, hey, I want to go for a walk? So it's really just slowing down, being open, and releasing expectations.
I love that you said, easier said than done. Yeah. But yes, love, it's so true. I mean, it's something that we teach essentially with mediumship, is like how grounded, connected, like, how's your nervous system? It's a lot. It's so much about the nervous system.
It totally is, because just like with anything else, if you're really stressed, if you're really sick, if you're in a toxic relationship or whatever, it's going to affect how well you can do other things in your life. Mm-hmm. So of course it's going to affect how well you can communicate with your animals telepathically,
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the invitation too, right? Like, it seems like this moment in time is giving you kind of a profound choice. Like, you can get, hang out in the static that is technology and all the channels that want to grab our attention and, rip us out of ourselves. And then, so these animals And I loved how you said that they're like, and like we're in service to them and they're in service to us. Cause that's what I hear a lot when I talk to animals. They're always like, well, I'm here for them. What do they need? And like,
Yep.
has that been your experience? I'm curious. Cause I mean, obviously I also hear a lot of demands. Like, I like this food better. It'd be really better if you ate with me. My dog said that to our mutual friend, Chelsea. He was like, I really like it if we could all eat together. Like,
their requests just keep life so fun because sometimes it's as simple as that and it like changes their life. And it's like, yeah, I guess we could do that.
I can do that. Yeah, that's not hard. Here, babe, sit at the table.
I would say that the majority of the time animals have said, I am here to help my human with something.
Yeah.
But there have been times where it was the other way around. I came to be with my mom or my dad because they helped me with something, which was really cool. Like in those situations, I can't think of an exact situation, a specific example to give, but in those situations where the animal was like, I came into my person's life for them to help me heal in some way, I still ask, okay, but is there something you're helping your humans with? And they always have some type of advice or something. But I would say, I think you're spot on, Jane, that most of the time, in my experience, it's they are here to help serve us because we need help. Like we are the screwed up ones. They're not.
Yeah, they're doing just fine.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, I mean,
love it so much.
it's kind of unconditional love that they give us, that connection that is so pure without all the human static that goes on.
Yeah, and static, what a great word that was, Sarah. Like truly, if we all were able to live truly in the present moment, we would be able to operate from unconditional love. So we wouldn't be worried or competing or stressed. And animals are masters at the present moment.
Yeah.
Like, you accidentally trip over, like the example, Jane, you gave earlier of the cat going between your clients' feet. Like you accidentally kick or trip over your animal and like, you don't hurt them, but you kind of maybe startle them or scare them. Like they don't care 5 seconds later, like they're cool with it. I'm not saying that animals don't have trauma. And of course, if they've been abused, like it's going to take time to repair that. But the past trauma doesn't for the most part, doesn't completely cloud their every waking moment because they're just in the present moment. And it's like, okay, like what are we doing now? Right now?
Give me a treat. Give me a treat. Give me a treat. Give me a treat.
And honestly, like my two dogs, I didn't know any better at the time. So we didn't rescue them. I didn't know any better. So I've never had an animal that was rescued with an abusive past or anything like that. But I wonder though, because of my client sessions, how much better would the animal be if the human wasn't constantly thinking about their traumatic past? Because I've had so many animals say over and over again, every time my mom introduces me to someone, she tells them my story and what happened to me. So the human is constantly replaying that event, reminding the animal what happened. The animal is picking up on the human's emotions of feeling sorry and bad and worried and all that stuff. So my thoughts are like, if you stop telling that story, how much faster would your animal heal? Because they are in the present moment. Like, so
that's interesting.
Yeah.
And same to us. Like,
right. Like imagine if you repeat the same story of your traumatic past over and over and over and over and over and over again, you don't ever get over it.
You're living in it.
You keep reliving it. Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, that's good.
That is good. That's a good nugget.
Like, present moment that goes back to just the present moment.
I think we solved the whole thing. Nikki, I think you've solved all the problems. I'm out of questions. The solutions have been presented here within. Everyone, you can just listen back. Right? Like, we don't know anything. Anything is possible. Yeah. Well, you teach that. You teach that so beautifully. I really love that. I think that's like a big part of your service is not just, hey, here are the animals, but opening minds and like giving people the confidence to change their own lives and change lives. So God bless you, sis.
Yeah. Cause like, I love animals and I want animals to be heard, but also I know the misery of hating your job. And like, we're in the 3D world. We need money, like we got bills. Yeah. So it's like, let's combine them. A job you love and animals you love.
And then everybody parties. Yay.
Yeah. And gosh darn it, like Pets are just so great. They just really are.
Gosh darn it.
I mean, like really, like after this, I'm going to go like bury my face in my dog's fur and just give her a big old snuggle,
I know.
you know?
Like we're so
Truly,
blessed
they're
to
the
just
best.
share our lives with these little fur
Yeah.
butts, you know? Or
Fur
big
butts.
fur butts.
I do. They have their little fur butts. Oh, and I'm like, I haven't been eating with Domino. Okay. And like, that's just a good reminder. I am going to have Domino sit with us.
Yep.
Just there's sweet things like, can I have some more water? Oh my God, of course.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just like practically important that we can talk to our animals because there's just like important things that they cannot communicate otherwise.
Yeah. And like it's so cool when they get excited when they realize you're understanding.
Yeah.
Like that's the
Yeah.
number one thing I hear. Like people, like from my clients, like even just from my newsletter emails, not even people I've done sessions for. They're just like, Nikki, just from reading your weekly newsletter emails, like and implementing the tips that you're giving us, like my animal is so much more affectionate, or they seem to like me more because they're being understood.
Yeah.
And it's so simple.
Right. Should I try that with my teenager?
Yeah, I don't know. That might be a little more complicated.
You can't help me there, huh?
I can't help you with that.
Back to humans. Back to humans.
Humans are complicated.
Yeah.
They
That's outside
are.
my wheelhouse.
So, Nikki, we're going to link your website in our show notes. Where else can people find you?
I am on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I'm going to be starting YouTube soon. I'm really excited about. I'm going to be transitioning into mainly YouTube, where I'm going to be teaching animal communication as opposed to just sharing stories of my personal, like one-to-one client sessions. Because like I, shared earlier, like my number one passion in life is helping people harness and hone their own ability to talk to animals. So all the social platforms and my website, you can find me.
Yay.
Gorgeous. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. It's such a pleasure to get to know you a little better and hear your wonderful stories and feel your great energy. And what a treat.
a treat.
These are a
You
treat.
guys were so fun. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you,
Well,
Nikki.
thank you so much.
Take good care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Very Soul is our sponsor for Medium Curious. Jane and I are both Very Soul mediums.
Oh, yes, we are. Verysoul.com, y'all. Inspired by spirit, guided by love, and brought to life by mediums. Medium Curious is made possible.
By Jane Morgan Editing.
Sarah Rathke made the amazing music.
And you can help Medium Curious by downloading the episodes.
And the dogs under the desk in Utah are Kalea and Domino.
And Trixie in California.